Hello, everybody, and welcome to another marvelous math movie today. We're tackling Chapter 3, Section 3, Multiplying Decimals. It begins on page 120 in your math book, page 120, Multiplying Decimals today. When you're ready, let's get started. Taking notes, doing the examples. We'll get in, get out, and we'll be good. Two things that I want you to keep in mind today while we're multiplying decimals. Number one, we're going to multiply like you would with regular whole numbers, so nothing changes in the multiplication process. And number two, we're going to add the decimal places of the factors. And this is how many decimal places that the answer will have. So if you remember back to last section, when we were multiplying decimals and whole numbers, we had to make sure that the answer that we had the same amount of numbers behind the decimal point as a factor did. Today, same thing applies. So here we're going to have our first example. We're going to be doing 4.8 times 7.2. And to do that, what we're going to have to do is we're going to multiply like normal. So 7, let me write it here, 7.2 times 4.8. Multiply it like normal. 8 times 2 gives me 16. Carry the 1. 8 times 7 is 56. Plus 1 is 57. Put your 0 for your place value holder. 4 times 2 gives me 8. And 7 times 4 gives me 28. Now we're going to add these together. 6 plus 0 is 6. 8 plus 7 is 15. Carry your 1. 8 plus 5 is 13. Plus 1 is 14. Carry your 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. Now I'm not done yet. My answer is not 3,456. So just like we did in the last lesson, we need to look at both of our factors, and we need to see how many numbers are behind decimal points. So in 7.2, we have one number behind the decimal point, and in 4.8, we have another number behind the decimal point. So together, we add those two together, we have two numbers behind the decimal point, and so we need two numbers behind our decimal point in our answer. So our answer is going to be 34, then 0.56. Two numbers behind our decimal point in the answer, two numbers behind the decimal point in our factors. All right, that's pretty much all it is today. So I did one example, and now I'm going to let you do the rest on your own. Here, 8.1 times 5.6. Pause it here, work it out in your notebook, unpause it for the answer. All right, let's multiply like normal. 6 times 1 is 6. 8 times 6 is 48. Put your 0 as your placeholder. 5 times 1 gives me 5. 8 times 5 gives me 40. We're going to add these two together. 6 plus 0 is 6. 8 plus 5 is 13. Carry your 1. 4 plus 1 is 5. And 4 plus 0 is 4. I have one number behind my place value and two numbers behind my decimal point. And so what that means is my answer needs two numbers behind the decimal point. So I'm going to place the decimal point between the 5 and the 3, and my answer should be 45.36. Here's another example for you to try. 2.7 times 9.04. Pause it here, work it out, and then unpause it. Okay, let's multiply like normal. 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 0 is 0, plus 2 is 2. 7 times 9 gives me 63. Put my 0 for my place value. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 0 is 0. and 9 times 2 is 18. It is very important that you keep your numbers lined up for your place value, right? You don't want to be adding ones with tens or hundreds with tens or something like that. So make sure as you go that your numbers are lined up as close to on top of each other as possible. So that way you can add the right place values. 8 plus 0 gives you 8. This is our last step. 8 plus 2 gives us 10. Don't forget to carry your 1. 3 plus 0 is 3, plus 1 is 4. 8 plus 6 is 14. Carry your 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. Now I need to look behind my place value. I need to look behind the decimal point, for how many numbers I have behind the decimal point. My first factor, 9.04, has 2 numbers behind the decimal point. The second factor, 2.7, has 1 number behind the decimal point. And so total, I have 3 numbers behind the decimal point, which means in my answer, I need 3 numbers behind it. So I'm going to put it between the 2 4s because then I have 1, 2, 3 numbers behind my decimal point. So my answer is going to be 24.408. Here's an example that we're going to do. You'll see. Evaluate 2.4x when x is equal to 3.95. The only added step to this problem is you plug in 3.95 where you see x. So we're going to do 3.95 times 2.4. And all we did is we took 3.95 and we put it in for x right next to each other. Now we just multiply. 5 times 4 gives me 20. 9 times 4 is 36, plus 2 gives me 38. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 3 is 15. Put my 0. 5 times 2 is 10. Put your 1. 9 times 2 is 18, plus 1 gives me 19. Put your 1. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 gives you 7. Add these together. You get 0, 8, 14, carry your 1, and 9. Now again, we have 1, 2, 3 numbers behind decimal points in our factors. So we need 1, 2, 3 decimal points. 3 numbers behind our decimal point in our answer. So our answer is 9.480. We don't need that last 0, so really we could write it as 9.48, and that would be the same answer. All right, last on your own question for this video. You have 2.4x when x equals 2.41. When you see this 2.4 and the x right next to it, that just means whatever x is going to be multiplied to 2.4. So I'll stop talking, let you work this out. Unpause it when you're ready. All right. Let's see how you did. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. Carry the 1. 4 times 2 is 8. Plus 1 is 9. Put your 0 for your placeholder. 2 times 1 is 2. 4 times 2 is 8. 2 times 2 is 4. We're going to add these together. We're going to get 4, 8, 17. Carry the 1. Put the 5. Let's see. We have 1, 2, 3 numbers behind the decimal point. So we need 3 numbers behind our decimal point in our answer. And so your final answer is 5.784. And that's it. And that brings us to the end of what we're going to be covering today. Wasn't too bad, I hope. Nice and easy, short and sweet and to the point. So today's joke, what is a butterfly's favorite subject at school? Mathematics. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Hope it was easy for you. Remember, as always, that you're very special and that God loves you. We'll talk to you next time.